Okay, happy Tuesday. We got the Simgot EM10 for review right now, and also I'm going to give this to somebody in the comments below this video. This is $430, so this will be a huge get, and I'm going to do it this Sunday on the unboxing channel. If you subscribe to this channel and that channel and comment below this, look on that because you might have your name pop up. Someone's going to win this, so this will be a quick turnaround one because it's of high value. If you hear candy rolling around in my mouth, it's this stuff. It's awesome, but it saves my throat. I have a kid. It's endless, the immunity buildup. I thought I did that when I was a kid, but apparently I got to do it with my kid again. It's crazy. This is a set that is, I'm going to white and blow out the screen right here because it's so bright. It's got a single DD, 8 balanced armatures, and 1 PZT, like a piezo type driver, and it's retailing at $439 at Linsole. Let me go ahead and drop that giant white flashlight in your face. There we go. Let's turn and look. Before we turn, I got a scale. Maybe it's up. Left side is dumpster fire. Next is hope was free. Coping is working. Right in the middle would be competes with its peers. Clear rec would be I'd buy it. And then obviously hyping is wrecking. I'm going to shamelessly hype it. That's my scale. That's how this video is going to end, on where I put it. Very simple and easy to get. This is the graph. It's the red one. This is the one that we're talking about today. This is other popular Simgots, the EA1000, the EA500, the EM6L, and the LM, and the Super Mix 4. All of these lined up at 500 hertz. You can see that this set has more from about 100 hertz below. It's got a lot more bass than any Simgot prior. It's also got a little bit more upper mids, though less 5-6 kilohertz. So it is more of a V-shaped set compared to a lot of prior or previously released Simgots. Now let's go ahead and talk about how this plays back in music. Listening to bass, the part that Simgot always seemed to be, man, I wish it had a little more. This is the set that does that best because it's, again, about basically a V-shaped tuning. Kill Jill, the triple drop, lowest is at 38 hertz, isolated and looked at on a spectrogram. Does it very nice. 4-string and 5-string bass guitar, the pulls, the plucks, the releases, the ringing of the strings sounds excellent. The intensity of the upper mids and also the treble in general gives this whole thing bass guitar sound crisp and clean. The bottom kick drum sounds excellent. Sounds quite good. I can't put the video that I used to put with Black Sabbath doing the angelic sessions, because even though I just put in the image and I turned off the sound, I got my video dinged for using that. But it was crazy because I want to show you what they're doing, which is a bassist and a drummer doing kind of like semi-solos at the same time, and they exist at the same part of the frequency response graph. It's across the board, but the meat and potatoes of both those instruments are very in a similar area, part of the drum kit anyway. Planars seem to do that well. The Sweet Leaf is the track I'm talking about. Everything else seems to do it not quite as good. The ability to separate those two instruments and focus on them. What I used to think was poor recording and production actually just isn't. It can be done with great drivers or particular types. This set actually does that quite well. That's why I wish I could show it to you. But it's up on the old board I used to have right there. 2 minute 30 seconds forward. I use that because that's kind of checks on overall resolution and quality, and also masking is a huge issue sometimes from the low frequency. Masking other stuff. Masking is what it sounds like. You're covering masking tape. You're covering up something else. A drummer and a bassist are in the same area. You can only really catch one, or it sounds like a low frequency blob. It's not an enjoyable listen. This doesn't have any of those traits. It sounds quite clean. As we get into the mids, focusing with Chris Cornell, Lane Staley, 2 examples of them performing with a Spartan backing. The MTV Unplugged on one side, and then Sirius XM on the other, and then Nina doing female vocals. This is really focused on the vocals, and vocals sound excellent on this set. There is some energy to the vocals, but I find it to be appealing. It's very similar to other Simgots. My problem with Simgots prior, the thing that I thought was the negative, was note weight. That was taken care of with this, but this has got some things that I need to talk about. But vocals sound excellent. Female vocals are coming out crystal clear. This is the best set for female vocals. You think that, well, elevating the bass, it's below 100 hertz where the elevation occurs, and the slightly more forward upper mids is seeming to benefit female vocals. It sounds great. Nina doing the cover of Heart of Glass, done by Blondie originally, sounds absolutely fantastic. Now, as we move to the upper mids and treble, about, let's say 5-6K and beyond, which is exclusively harmonics, there's no fundamentals. Now, if you don't understand what harmonics are, let me give you a super ghetto demonstration. This is my table. You hear that sound? When my knuckles struck the table, that created a sound. That was the fundamental. But that was a split second. The 1 second, the other 80% of that was harmonics. That was energy and sound created by the initial contacts. Like a cymbal strike, you hit the cymbal, that's at about 500 hertz. Most of it exists all the way out to about 6 or 7 kilohertz. And that's all harmonics. That's not fundamental. Most of what you catch from a cymbal strike is really harmonics. It's not the fundamental of the strike. So this area for this set actually sounds intense, despite the fact that it's got a slight cut at 5 and 6K compared to a couple of the other sim cuts. It doesn't really sound like it. It sounds typical Simgot, quite energetic, and it might be the PZT that's doing that. It sounds good. Cymbals, keyboards, guitars, electric and acoustic, and vocals, harmonics, all sound intense, but not offensive. If you were okay with previous Simgots, you would be okay with this, and you'd also be getting the highest quality overall replay because it's got some balance in the low end, in my opinion. Now let's go ahead and get to the ranking of this. Dumpster fire, no. Hope it was free. Somebody in the comments below this video, it's going to be free. And also don't forget the Unbox channel. That's literally where all the action takes place. Coping is working. I didn't pay for it, so that wouldn't work. Competes with its peers. What are its peers at $430? The Pilgrim, I've got that with me. I'll talk about that when I do its video. I'm not going to throw that in here, and that gets its own video. I'd buy it. $430, and having had it and listened to it and figured out what I like and what I don't like about it, I would, because you got to remember that I spend thousands and thousands of dollars on Summit Buy nosebleed stuff, and I sometimes got to cope with the 5K that I spent. Really cope hard and then sell. So I know that feeling. For $400, I would think that this is a good quality replay, so I would buy it. Going to shamelessly hype it. This is where me being an early Simgot receiver and a fanboy is going to obviously say, going to shamelessly hype it, but bang, you'd be wrong. I'd buy this. I'm not going to shamelessly hype it because I'll get into that in another video. But I would pay $430 for this. I can't think of anything in its price range that's got enough bass and an overall quality and driver count. There's a tip of the hat to a topic I'm going to talk about pretty soon. But excellent set. I think it's the best that Simgot's released. You would hope that that would be the case because the price would indicate it. We all know, as I mentioned in many videos, that is not the case. Price does not directly correlate with sound quality. You hope it would, but this is not rocket science, and that shows itself again and again and again in lots of little ways. Companies say, how much do you think we should charge for this? I'm talking about big companies. So the people that think, oh, well, they take their costs and how much they've dumped into it, and then they want to get back a certain amount, or cost per unit for like a cheaper set, and how much do the parts cost plus labor, plus they have a percentage that they want to get back. You got to consider retail and all the other stuff that they're doing. It's not like that. They really try to get what they can. So there's that. This is the most expensive Simgot, but it does sound like the most expensive Simgot. It does sound like the best that they've released. Now I'm rambling, and I'm about to take another one. These are epic. I've become quite a fan of these.